So at this point, we have talked about our treble clef, and we've talked about our bass clef. We've talked about the fact that in music, the musical alphabet, the letters that we use go from A to G. And if I'm using the treble clef, the lines are E, G, B, D, F, and the spaces are F, A, C, E. And the phrase we use for treble clef lines is every good boy does fine, and the spaces spell face. Bass clef, the lines are G, B, D, F, A. And we like to say good boys do fine always, and the spaces are A, C, E, G. All cows eat grass. Those are just our ways of memorizing those. But there are these symbols that we can put on these different pitch names that give us more options, and these symbols are called accidentals. Simply put, an accidental alters a pitch. It either takes it up or it takes it down. This symbol is called a flat. And a flat, when you put this in front of one of our notes, it actually will lower that note by half of a step. So for example, if I have a B and I put this flat symbol in front of that B, then it becomes a B flat, and a B flat is a half step lower than a B would be. So now you can see the B at the top of the page here, and then you see the B flat, which is a half step lower than a B would sound. You'll notice that I wrote the symbol, the flat symbol, after the letter B. But if I draw it on the music staff, I'll put the flat symbol before the note. That way I know that it's flat before I play it. And the same thing applies to the other accidentals we're going to show you. Remember, think of flat going down a half step. Flat like a flat tire on your mom or your dad's car. Anytime you see the flat symbol, that means the pitch is lowered by a half step. Hold your horses. If there's a flat and it lowers a note by a half step, guess what? You have to have the opposite. So this symbol is called a sharp. And what a sharp does, it raises a note by half of a step. And the way I think of it is, if you sit on a tack that is very sharp, you're definitely going to go get up. Okay, hopefully you will not stay sitting on the tack. So sharps raise a pitch by half of a step. So if I have an F here, that's just a plain F. If I turn it into an F sharp is a half a step higher than F is. Notice how I wrote the sharp after the F. Now don't forget the same thing we said about flats apply to sharps. When you write it on the music staff, you have to put the symbol before the note so that you know it's going to be sharp or flat before you actually play the note. So this is the way an F sharp would look on the music staff. Okay, one example of an F sharp. Well, the last accidental we have is called a natural. Now, a natural has a very important job. If you have a song that has a flat or sharp in it, or flats and sharps in the key signature, the natural can get rid of those flats and sharps. So let's say, for example, I'm playing a song, and in that song, every B is flat. But then we get to a particular measure where, who knows, the composer does not want that B flat anymore. Maybe he wants that B to just be a regular B again. We would just call it a B. Well, then you would use a natural symbol with that B, and that would mean that the flat is gone, and now it's just a plain B. Just like you would have on your music staff. It's not a flat or a sharp anything anymore. Let's say I'm playing a song and my Fs are all sharp. Well, let's say I get to a point in the song the composer wants to get rid of the F sharps. Well, all they have to do is put the natural symbol, and that means my F sharps are gone, and I just have an F natural, at least for that measure. Now, that's the thing about accidentals. If you see a flat or a sharp in the key signature, then it's going to be that way the whole song. If your B is flat in the key signature, all your B's are going to be flat, unless you have a measure that has a B natural in it. Now, if you have accidentals that are written into the music, you could have a sharp beside an F or beside a G, or a flat beside a D or something, and it only lasts for that one measure. When it's in the key signature, it lasts for the entire song. But remember, if it's only in that measure, that accidental, that flat, that sharp, or that natural, then it only lasts for that one measure. So here's a quick review. Flats. Anytime you see a flat, it lowers a note, just like the flat tire. It lowers a note a half step. When we see a sharp raises a note by a half step. Just like sitting on a sharp tack, it's going to raise you up. And lastly, we have the natural. Like that natural hairdo right there. The natural means that the flat or a sharp that's in a piece of music is canceled, at least for that measure. Alright gang, that's a little bit about accidentals. Okay, so we're going to see how much you remember. You're going to need to draw all three of these symbols in your agenda. Okay, I have all three symbols lined up here. So my question to you is, what's the name of the first symbol? Can you tell me? That's right, it's a flat. And a flat takes a note which direction, up or down? That's right, a flat takes a note down by half of a step. Now what's the next symbol? There you go, it's a sharp. And does a sharp take a sound up or down? That's right, you remember the tack. It takes it up half of a step. And then our final symbol, what's it called? Very good, it's a natural. And our natural, it cancels out a flat or a sharp and makes the note what we call natural. In other words, as we said before, just a plain A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. Good job. Make sure you have written this down in your agenda.